So, hi and welcome to this episode. This episode will just quickly spend a minute or two looking at this program a little more in depth. So, let's get started. Okay, so let's head to this first line here. Hash include IOStream. So what does this do? Well, this is essentially saying include, so take something from somewhere else, for example, take a random file in here if I can find it. I can probably find it. But essentially somewhere in C++ land, we'll have this little IOStream file. Essentially what IOStream is, it's basically the input and output stream. So what it essentially does is it makes sure that programming can put things out to the console, can end lines. So these things like we did here can also take input. So that is what IOStream is for. If you have your own file, which I won't make now, but we'll head to that later, you can also include that yourself, but then you'll use these things in here. So you can see now it's only got debug, which isn't really something interesting. But these hash include things, hash include, also have other things like, if I can find it, let's say you would want something with audio. It has all these little audio files, so that's essentially just bringing in files so that we can do extra things. Okay, so now this is just a blank line, you don't need it. Now in here we've got this int main, and we've also made this class main, but that doesn't really matter, it's just whatever I wanted to call it. I normally call this main as it's the main class. And why do we have to call this int main? Because if I would call this int, let's say how to compute, let's try and run this now. And it will give us some errors, and what is the error? It must return a value, so let's return 0. Let's quickly solve that. And now it should give us this really weird error. This is essentially saying there isn't a main class because a computer will go through all your files, because this might be 100, 200, however big your program may be. It will go and search for this int main. This int main is essentially the main class, so whenever your computer runs this program, it will go and search for this class and do whatever is in here first. And from here you can also call other things, but we'll head to that later. And then here, this line wasn't really needed, but I just like to add it. We'll just return zeros because this is an integer and 0 is also an integer. That will basically let the computer know everything went successful here. Because if I would return something else, it could basically mean something went wrong, which we don't want. So just return 0. This isn't needed, as you can see. If I would delete this, it was not needed. Yes. So now it still works, and if we would add it, return 0, it also still works. So that is optional. I would recommend you would just get into it and add it. So I hope this cleared up some extra hello world things. I hope this basically said what these little parts are, because you already knew about this line, but this was probably magic before you, and I hope you just slightly better understand this. So I hope to see you in the next lecture. I have no clue what it is about, but we'll see when we're there.